greatest digital asset ever created. I'm so glad I accumulated before the space got saturated. XRP the greatest digital asset ever created. Make the haters aggravated, get the spaceship activated. XRP the greatest digital asset ever created. I'm so glad I accumulated before the space got saturated.
I'm gonna start off with some good news here. TransGo enables Ripple on-demand liquidity service across its 25 payment corridors. So this is an exciting news for Ripple. Today, March the 1st, TransGo enabled Ripple's on-demand liquidity services for all its payments corridors. It says all, allowing remittance providers to process instant cross-border payments without costly pre-funding. This is amazing. Ripple, the leading provider, enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions for cross-border payments, occurred 40% of TransGo's in 2021. Scales RippleNet of ODL services. You guys can read the rest of this here. I will leave this in the link in the description below. It talks about TransGo and Ripple. This is exciting news. Ripple is sitting close to about 78 cents today, jumping back from 60 cents 2 through 4 days ago. So this is exciting news. So let's jump into some more news here. I got this from a digital asset investor. This is not just about Ukraine. That's just part of it. It's about the petrodollar, guys. Bitcoin and Ethereum are just prototypes, toys, distractions. I'm buying XRP, XLM, and gold. Watch to the end. So I'm going to play this clip here that digital asset investor mentioned, and I thought it was a great clip. He showed it before, but now he just showed extra within the clip. Take a look at this.
The petrodollar is actually a device invented by Kissinger and Nixon.
The standard of living of all Americans can be traced back to here, the vast oil-rich deserts of Saudi Arabia.
In the early 70s, after the Arab crisis happened with the oil embargoes, OPEC basically tripled the price of oil to the Western world. And at that time, America realized that they were vulnerable because they were importing about 70% of all the oil they consumed.
To secure a reliable foreign source of oil, U.S. President Richard Nixon sent his Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, Henry Kissinger, to Saudi Arabia for a secret meeting. The result was a pact that still stands to this day.
If Saudi Arabia, which at the time was the world's largest producer of oil, would sell the oil in US dollars, America would defend Saudi Arabia and make sure the House Assad would stay in power.
As a direct result of this U.S.-Saudi agreement, all other oil-producing nations also adopted the dollar as the de facto medium of exchange. Demand for it increased exponentially all over the world, and soon it had a new name: the petrodollar.
Your currency is only as strong as the demand for it, just like anything else, the supply and demand. Why the petrodollar is important, it causes a demand for the US dollar. A lot of Americans don't realize that over 70% of all the $100 bills in the world are actually outside of the US. There's more $100 bills in Russia than there are in America.
This stockpile of US dollars in countries around the world is because oil is bought and sold using the greenback.
If oil starts trading in non-petrodollars, such as gold or a basket of currencies, or if China and Russia start trading in yuan and ruble rather than US dollars, that demand isn't there. And the way of life for the average American will be done. It will be worse than the Great Depression.
To date, anyone who's potentially threatened the status of the petrodollar hasn't fared well. Libyan strongman Muammar Gaddafi publicly pushed for a Pan-African gold-backed currency that he would trade for Libya's oil. He was killed during a US-backed revolution in 2011. And just a few short years before, Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein advocated selling oil for euros.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq.
The U.S. invaded under the guise of looking for WMDs.
Iraq did not have any weapons of mass destruction. And interestingly enough, after the Americans invaded, took over, put in their own government, the whole concept of selling oil in euros never surfaced again.
Today, many countries resent the current petrodollar system, and their leading spokesperson is none other than Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Со дня образования полка.
Americans should be very worried about what Putin can do. There is a new Cold War going on. It is the Colder War. That is exactly what's going on. And who's in the center of this push? Vladimir Putin. And the petrodollar is so crucial to the Colder War. The only thing holding America right now at the top is the petrodollar. And let me make it very clear. If the petrodollar dies, so does America as a superpower.
You guys know about this Ukraine, Russia attack. So the U.S., they called themselves sanctioning the Russia and their banks. They're freezing their accounts. $1 trillion of their accounts from Russia. Also, you guys remember this Canada has been freezing crypto accounts that was on exchanges who were doing this protest for the trucks. So you guys make sure you protect yourself. If you do have any crypto holdings on these exchanges, understand the difference between wallets and exchanges, right? So let's look more into this freezing of accounts and taking the money from the people that's putting it in the banks, right? So let's see, what is a bank holiday, right? So we already know a bank holiday is a business day during the financial institutions when they're closed. I mean, like Christmas or Labor Day or maybe Martin Luther King Day. Those are considered holidays, right? Bank holidays. But what else? I'm reading more because they're starting to do these, they've been doing these bail-ins. But if you keep reading a little bit down low here, it says, although rare, bank holidays can also be declared to prevent bank runs. So it's not just quote unquote these bank holidays. It says to prevent bank runs. So let's click. What is bank runs, right? So what is a bank run? A bank run occurs when a large number of customers of a bank or financial institution withdraw their deposit simultaneously over concerns of banks' sovereignty. So as more people withdraw their funds, for probability of default increases, promoting more people to withdraw their deposits. In extreme cases, the bank's reserves may not be sufficient to cover the withdrawal. So when so many people withdraw money, they do these bail-in. So they close the banks, they stop people from withdrawing money, they basically put a halt on pretty much everything. So guys, we need to make sure that we understand this, because there's a big packet that we get when we open these new bank accounts. We sign it because it's so big, it's so long, so tedious to read. We just sign everything. But there are rules and regulations that they allow that says when you put your money in the bank, it is not yours. So I want you guys to be aware of that, and I want to touch more bases on it. So look at this video here. He speaks more about it. I want you guys to look more into this video. It's called Warning: Cash in the Bank is Extremely at Risk. It's a 24-minute video. I'm only going to play about 5 minutes here. Listen up.
To be aware of that, because this is the signal of when things are starting to get pretty bad. Now, if we look back, there's a history of economic theft. What do I mean by that? Well, that means governments and banks stealing your money, stealing your wealth. It happens a lot. So there's the high debt levels, 130% debt to GDP, precedes the seizure. So when you see that we're reaching these debt levels, when you see that we're approaching a reset, when you see that they're calling for a reset, then you can be sure that the seizure comes after that. A couple examples of that. We can go back to 1933. Most of you probably are aware of this. Act 6102. May 1st, 1933. What happens? The banks go on, quote, a bank holiday. That means the bankers go on holiday. The banks are closed and you can't get your money out. Not a holiday for you. They're on a holiday, your money is locked in the banks. What happens? The banks shut down for about a week. When they open back up, you don't get your money. So at the time, before 1933, gold was money. Gold was money for 5,000 years. We put our gold in the banks. We had paper gold certificates. 20 of these paper gold certificates, 20 of these dollars equaled an ounce of gold. The banks go on holiday. When they open back up in 1933, I can no longer get my gold. And as a matter of fact, instead of $20, 20 paper certificates for an ounce of gold, now it's 35 paper gold certificates for an ounce of gold, which means not only did they steal all your money, they also devalued it, so you lost another 60%. Super cool, right? Sounds fun. Well, in 2013, this isn't just old history, I know, 80, 90 years ago. This isn't just ancient history. In 2013, the same thing happened in Cyprus. We saw in Cyprus, the same thing played out. We saw massive amounts of debt accumulate. So you could see this proceeding. You knew there was going to be a problem right here if you were paying attention. And sure enough, after that debt level built up, here we see depositors lose 47% of savings in the bailout. So when Cyprus got this high level of debt, guess what they did? They took the money from the people, 47%.
Now, guys, you can see that 47% of the savings were taken from the people from this bail out, or what you could say bail in, right? But I want you guys to make sure you go do your own due diligence on that and the bail-ins and bailouts of the banks, and make sure you know what to do with your money, right? Before I leave you guys, I want you guys to go check out this video. It's not funny, but it's a couple who stole $4.5 billion in Bitcoin heist. They literally just got caught not too long ago this month. This is it's an interesting video. I'm laughing because they're pretty weird, but they stole $4.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Definitely go check that out. It's interesting. Look here, married couple steals $4.5 billion in Bitcoin heist. That's the name of the video. Make sure you guys go buy gold and silver. You know, this is an accredited account. I literally just purchased some gold off of this particular website here. Just make sure you having ways to save your money, not in the banks, but having and buying assets, real assets, right? Also, if you're buying crypto, make sure you protect your crypto off these exchanges and putting them in a hard wallet, such as a ledger, which you see here. All right, guys, I'm out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'm out.